Oh. Hello, everybody. Let me get my chat window up here so I can see if there's anybody showing up. Oh. There's already a few here. Hello, hello. Greetings, how are you doing? Up halftime it. So go here instead of one, say half. Then I have a drum groove here, that should be cool. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to a new live stream. My name is John Skippy Limcool. Skippy is a nickname that was given to me in 1989 when I joined Korg. And it has stuck. At first, I was very much against it. And then I was like, okay, I'm Skippy, so. Now I'm Skippy, so. So, welcome. I hope you are all doing well, finding tons of inspiration. I think I have to turn I have notifications going on from stuff I don't want to see during the live stream, so we'll turn that off. Hope you're all well. Why Skippy? Oh, that's so funny. Well, so I was at a sales meeting demonstrating a new product in New York, and I was responsible for making a demo song and explaining to the sales force. This is back when Korg had like sales managers in like all the different markets. And I got up, and it's a little $300 thing. It used some Yamaha technology. You could plug in a card, and it could read multi-timbral all the sounds on the card. And I did a song called Blind Date, played by the little Yamaha, or it was a Korg QS3, little mini disc sequencer that Korg made at one point. And I'm all like, it's so cool what you can do with this thing. And afterwards, one of the other product specialists, a guy named Jeff Gastineau, said, goes, I don't know. He goes, you don't really act much like a John. You act a lot more like a Skippy. And there were other product specialists, and Jack Hotop and Ben Dowling and my dear friends, and they all heard it, and their eyes just went, oh, Skippy! And this was back when there's a show called Family Ties, which had a character named Skippy. And he was kind of the everything bad happened. He was the one that would like spill things and all that. And I was like, no, I'm not Skippy. I don't want to be Skippy. And I fought it. I was like, I actually wasn't into it for quite a long time. But you know what? It stuck, and I am, being who I am. When I get a chance to be in front of people and demonstrate, I tend to not be, back in 8 years ago, we had a chance to do some technology, and, I'm not like that. So I am more Skippy, so there you go. Hi, Guaras, everybody. Good to see you all. So this is going to be a fun live stream. I think I have some fun things planned out. I'm playing with MegaMagic Pads Part 2 Mosaic, which came out on my birthday last Wednesday. And I'm going to show that to you, give you a quick rundown. And I've already made a new set of samples that are going to be showing up in a release I'm doing in July, which is after when the sale is over. So if you want this library and save money, buy it now. And all sorts of goodies are going to be coming for free in July when I release this update for it. Totally new samples, like 6 sample maps. I'll show you all about it. I'm going to give you guys a sonic test chance. Can you tell which synthesizer is which? I think it should be pretty easy, but we'll see. Also, I want to show you a little bit about chill guitar phrases. That's the next library that's coming up. We have snuck some very nice little updated things into Unify that are going to make using it really fun. And it's really awesome what Shane has done to solve one of the big problems with the library. And so we'll talk about that. And then we'll probably make some bonus patches for MegaMagic Pads in Unify, showing you some of the tools. There's also a YouTube question that I want to answer in this video. I'll do it towards the end, about volume and a situation that he has. That's one where there's actually a really easy solution that you might not be aware of to create the base. Well, let's do it now. Okay, so this is for the YouTube customer that asked this question about using Unify in standalone, and he's got Superior Drummer playing a groove, I think, in a separate standalone application. And everything in Unify, you know, I don't save any bits or any space for data. Everything here that you call up these basses, stuff like this, the volumes are pretty high, right? We don't make wimpy sounds. We don't make small sounds. We make sounds and we try to level them out so that when you're working in a production, you can call these up. They will fit the mix. They all sound great. But if you're doing this and you have another application that's playing drums and it's soft, and every patch you call up in Unify is loud, it's like, how can I make Unify globally softer no matter what patch I call up? I want to make it softer. And there's a really cool solution. And that's because we can load Unify patches into a new layer. You do this, hit init. Let's say that we want to load up to start with the bass and Steinway. Right click on this and say load into a new Unify layer. And then you can go to the top one that's just the init patch and say delete. So I now just have Unify playing the bass split. Right? And here I have my global volume. And I could turn this down to a set like minus 10 dB. Then open up this Unify and go through the patches and call them up. And now everything has been throttled because of the volume of this layer. And I have full access through the browser to call up every patch. And they're all going to be limited. It's one of these things that's kind of like, oh, that's so easy. And it's not something that's like a global setting that you have to set and then Unify set that way. This is kind of a special case. I'm not exactly sure. It could be that he's using Superior Drummer in Unify on a separate layer, but it sounds like it's two separate applications. You know, we didn't get enough information in the description text as usual in a YouTube question to answer that. But this is a really cool solution to make Unify a layer, turn down the volume of this layer to where you want it to be. Now you just open up this Unify, go through any patch you want, and they are all limited to the maximum volume of whatever this is. So that's one way to do a global throttle to limit the incredible sonic output of Unify, because you need to limit it, right? By doing this, it's now down 12 dB. No, we want it loud. Right? So that's the solution for that situation. Open up Unify as a new layer, and now you can go to the volume here and set this however you want. And now open up this Unify, go through the patches anywhere you want, and everything is set to work as you would expect it to work, just as if you're working in Unify. But Unify itself is now the master of its output control. So that is the answer, I believe, to this question that the customer had. If not, he will write more and we'll keep plucking away on it. So there you go. So that's a really fun way to use Unify as a tool to do something simple like layering and doing control of volume. Because now you can go in here and you could set this up however you want, and it's always going to be set to where this is the master output that you use. And you could say this is a patch as a starting point to go from. Okay, so there you go. That's the answer to that question. Now, MegaMagic Pads 2 Mosaic is a really, really fun library of pads. And it's a library where I've really taken pads much farther than with MegaMagic Pads 1. You have far more complex pads for what we call our master pad. Come to my master pad, baby. Right? Okay. Now, the fun thing with this library is Destiny All is a composite of these parts you see below it. A, B, the wet, always the wet. The dry is just a bonus I put in there because I always get people going, I want this thing that's got all those, I don't want the reverb on it. So you have it dry. But in this case, you hear a little dingling bell sound. That is Destiny C. That's in there. And I perform these parts, so there's something unique in that because it's 11 samples across the keyboard, for each sample, I played a completely different rhythm. And what this does is when you play the G above it, it's totally different. So you play it together, and they interact really nicely. So across the entire keyboard is unique performances for that range. And then Destiny A, let's load that into just the instrument layer by itself. Let's use Option to turn down the two outputs so we don't distort. And that's just two of all the parts. And if you go to the Destiny Multi, this is a very special, more granular, where I have taken that all. See how all is just a single layer? Everything that makes up all is in the multi. You can play the same chord. Sounds pretty much the same. However, you have now control over every one of the parts of the pad. So you can solo. These are all the parts that are in this master pad. If you go to the knobs on the second page, we're using this new ability of Unify so you can switch from playing everything, spin the knob, now you're just playing one of those 5 layers. Spin it back to the all, and when you play new notes, they're going to be and I want to point out, it's really important because you have these levels and you have, this is my mix to try to match the all, but I could go, you know what, I want less of this and less of this, I just want a little bit of this, and here's my mix. Or I don't want that motion thing at all. Bye. And I just have this huge, lush, complex. Right? Let me get, I'm sure somebody's gonna ask if you haven't already to see show MIDI. The little keyboard. So let's get this up because I'll be on the knobs quite a bit. And this way you can see the keys that I'm playing. This is a free MIDI effect at the Plug and Groove website you can get. That is its whole purpose. That it's one of the first things Shane made, and it is actually the first thing he sent me for free, saying, hey, I found a solution, because Logic used to have this keyboard in the early live streams, and then they did an update and it broke it. So now, there. So you have control over the volume The pan, so I could pan these pads into different places if I wanted. If I want to put some sort of a really cool effect, let's say I want to go to, oh gosh, there's so many cool effects. What do we want to play with? Native instruments. Let's put freak. Oh, is this gonna be one of those that doesn't? Yeah, okay, well, some effects that Native Instruments makes for some reason do that. We could go to our own effects. Let's put a nice, cool, let's see here, what do we want to do? Let's do phase mod. Let's bring up our feedback. So I'm putting this just on the motion bells. Let's go to my speed. So these are totally available for you to deconstruct and do all sorts of things too. Another thing that's really fun, let's call it back up, is to play with the pump houses. Turn them on, call up different presets for each one. Let's say we do some of the rhythmic pulses. Let's do that. Let's have this one be a saw down. Let's have this one do so call up a different pulse thing on each one of these. Check this out, this last one. Now it's a rhythmic pad just by using the pump houses. And I could go over here to the presets and I could choose all sorts of fun things. And because it's component, that means each of the components could be doing a completely different rhythm. Super, super fun. So there are 6 different master pads. Which breaks down to 34 different unique pads. MegaMagic Pads Volume 1 had 28. Also MegaMagic Pads 1, I limited it to 8 samples because I was trying to make it work inside of Omnisphere. This is past Omnisphere's capabilities, so we're using 11 samples across the keyboard. And the nice thing with this is in Omnisphere with MegaMagic Pads, you have to edit every single patch to do anything. Whereas here, I can just move the sample start, and I can quickly create any kind of a patch and all of the samples work and change at once. Can't do that in Omnisphere. So we have the ability inside of Unify to do all sorts of things that are past the capabilities of Omnisphere when it comes to my own samples. So this will not show up in Omnisphere. Can't play it. So it's not going to go there. It's just for Unify. And again, because we're at a when you call up the multis, you can solo, say, oh, I don't want that part. So just mute it, and now you have a nice pad with no motion. Hi, Da Vinci girl. Welcome. So, yeah. Anyway, as you can see right here is a new one called Power Stringz. I made this last night. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to show you how I made it. And we're going to have some fun with it. Let me show you the other one. So Rosa Crystal. Super beautiful. Again, go to the multi version. And you can solo. Like this might be cool with a little rhythm on it. And turn down a little bit. Take this and turn over here so it's a pulse. What I love to do a lot of times is go to the presets, and we have these things called numbered pulse presets, where it will generate at perfect timing locations 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, 24, 32, 48, or 64 steps. 8 steps down is a good place to start. And because of the accuracy of Unify, you can make this super fast. You can slow it down as well. And then what's fun with this is hold down Option or your Alt key, and this allows you to change levels without moving right and left. Normally when you click and drag, you're moving right and left and up and down. But if you hold down the Option key, it lets you change just the up and down volume. And then click and drag on the curves. And in seconds, you can have your own unique rhythmic alive pulse that's more than just something going bonk, 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 hitting you on the head like a hammer, right? So now we have right? Really, really fun. These were all made in Mexico. I was in San Miguel de Allende, a wonderful town. In 4 days, this library just like leaked out. Crazy. And like this has this cool, but because I'm in the multi-mode version, take the attack up. Make it just become this cool noise-scape. Maybe put some sort of one of our phasers or flangers or something so it's got a cool motion. Let's say flange. There. Now you got this cool swirly kind of thing. So having a pad where you can like do surgery to the different body parts is really fun. This opens up so many fun cans of worms. You could be doing all sorts of alternative, not to talk about filtering. Distortion is a wonderful thing to add to these. Phasers, flangers, stuff like this is really fun to add to these, right? Here's Tidal Tsunami. So the goal for the big alls was to make something that's a composite of mosaics. That's why it's called Mosaic, because it takes all of these separate pads together to make this. That is made because of A, B, C, more noise than pad, but that element is really important for the kind of the ethereal, like you're flying feeling of this pad. And then a nice warm. This is Vital I used to make this. That one pad sound. All together, it's just like, whoa, what the heck? You know, it's, I don't know if you can see it, but I get goose pimples playing these myself. This library truly was a gift just from being in Mexico. San Miguel is built on a bedrock of rose crystal. It's been a mecca for artists, musicians, creative types. And I really felt something really cool there that just made this happen. So, and And then Troubled Waters. This is actually the first one that I made, and it's lovely. You have the mod wheel for filtering. So in some cases, a lot of these sounds that have that motion in the high end, just filter them down and you've got the solid body. It's a great way to start a song, really dark, and then when it's time for the chorus or for the groove to come in, bring in the filtering so that more detail shows up. You have control over the attack, decay, sustain, release, reverb if you want to add even more ambience. You've got that. By having the knobs here, it just means it's really ready to be automated. Bring in Pump House. You can even change the rate. Of Pump House. So those are the main pads, and then Troubled Waters, multi, again, you've got control over both the mix here. Turn things down. You also have on page 2, knob 11, that's the magic knob, so you can and nothing is being cut off. I can even have this sustain. Go to all, play a new chord, and they all play. So one of the fun tricks that you can do with your sequencer that's really cool is like build up these things where you start with one sound, playing one part, go to another layer, play another note, go to another layer, play another note. So I have 4 notes played with 4 different sounds from 4 different layers. Go to all. They all can play. It's so cool. Fun? Okay. So last night I made this. This is what it looks like when it's done. After I've chopped everything up, put them on their own layers, given them names, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to give you a chance to hear them, and I'm going to tell you what I used, and then you get to guess which synth was used for which of the parts. First of all, let me play you Power Stringz All. Again, this is new. This is not part of the MegaMagic Pads library that you buy right now. This is something I'm showing you that will come in July, probably towards the end of July. But, excuse me. So I'm showing you something before it comes out. It confuses people sometimes, so I'm trying to be really clear. This doesn't exist yet, but it will. It will be included for free with this as a free update, okay? So here is Power Stringz. Synth String Nirvana. I will tell you, if I play a chord, now, this might not be final. I might want to make this a little bit more noticeable, but layer D is this. This is MegaMagic cello, violin, viola, spiccatos, and the trio in Unify playing. While I'm playing notes for each of the samples, so you have this cool, and then when you combine this with any other pads, it's just really cool. It's got this motion from something. It's like, what is that? Right? Now the other three, let's go to the multi version. So again, part 4, and I don't give anything away here what it is, right? Is that. So the 3 synths I used Vital, a software-based synth. I used one of the string sounds I'm going to show you is from the Roland SE02, which is a wonderful analog 3 oscillator kind of mini Moog style synth. I used it for one of the pads. And then I used my Access Virus TI2 to call up a nice string type of sound. But which one is which? So here, you get to hear them and then guess, okay? So there's Vital, SE02, and the Virus. So here's string pad 1. Okay? String pad 2. And then string pad 3. When you play them all together, it sounds really cool. So which one is which? Which one's the Vital? Which one is the SE02 and which one is Virus? At the moment, none of them are looped, which means as I hold my chord, they stop. I have software on a computer downstairs for looping. I didn't get to that stage. So they play for a little while and then they go, bye. What do you think? Let's see what, I didn't do a very good job of making this like a tricky mystery for everybody. So someone says 3 is Vital. What do you think? So here's C. There's Vital, SE02, and the Access Virus. Here is A. Here's B. And then C. So I'll play the same line with each. And what do you think? And then all together. Just huge. Interesting. Vital, Virus, SE02. Interesting. Okay, one more time. Here's A. So we're looking for the Vital, virus, and SEO2, right? So B. Hear how smooth that is? They're so beautiful. And then C. But see how they each have their own characteristics. This is kind of this really bright, kind of brash, but really open. That's Vital. Number 2, really warm. That's the Roland SEO2. And number 3, that's this dude right here, Access Virus. By the way, if you can find an Access Virus, buy it. It's my favorite hardware synth in many ways. I mean, there's lots of great synths, so I don't want to like say something that's unexpected or whatever, but the fact that there is so many patches that this can call up that work inside of your computer. It can go to such really cool places sonically. And for the synth sound, it was really cool. I could get this really brittle. Now Vital, I'm gonna show you Vital. We're gonna look at this patch. If I say init, and let's go over here to all instruments to the Vital. If you don't own Vital yet, you should definitely get it because it is a free synth. See how bright that is? Lovely. Now, we're working on a library for Vital that will be part of a library for Unify. We've been making a ton of patches, as you can see. There's all sorts of really, really cool stuff in here. I don't want to get into all the details, but right here is Power Stringz, which is that's this. Right? So how we Vital is wonderful because you can get it for free. I would like to recommend and request that if you get it, to at least buy the basic version, which is like $25, I believe. It's a business model that he's counting on people buying it for getting more patches and more presets. There's some very nice presets. I bought the highest option you possibly could get because I want to use this for all sorts of cool things and I want to work with it and support Matt because it's a great synth. We'll get into all this stuff probably later in July, August when this library comes out. But let's make this patch from scratch. So if you go up here and you say initialize preset, Unison is right here. I had one oscillator. This is my favorite basic type of waveform. Something like this. So it rises a little bit faster. It's easier to play. Now you heard there's a bit of a chiff. I used layer B, or oscillator 2, I guess they would call it here. And I think there's a wave. I think it's hollow. And I turn this down so you don't hear it. and then you go back to A, and over here you can do FM. This is something that Serum really made a cool thing to do, is use this waveform to do frequency modulation on A. Right? And you just go over here to envelope. Actually, I use an LFO. If you drag the LFO over to the, let's see, to the wave table right here. And then you take the trigger mode to envelope, so it only happens once. Right? Then go over here to your timing and set it to seconds and speed it up. That's basically what I did. You get all sorts of really cool. If you want to get into really cool, new, modern harmonics, like you hear in a lot of bass music and stuff, this is where you can go. I didn't do that. Just went a little chiff. And then the third oscillator, I took it up an octave. More voices of unison. Let it really detune out. And then make it soft. Simmer to taste, add a little reverb to it, and you ended up with power strings for the. Here. Without it, you just hear the filter. You just want a little bit of like more than just filter. So that is what I used to make that sound. Again, Vital is something we're going to be covering and doing a lot more with. It will never be included inside of Unify, but because it's available for free, or you can get it for a very reasonable price, it's one that we'll be supporting with libraries because it's great. It's a great synth. The flexibility of it and where it can go, especially for the snappy, bright, synthy stuff that's going on in today's productions, it's really, really cool. So. What software version of Virus was that and who makes it? It's Access Virus. This is the TI. You need one of the newer ones, even a Virus Snow, which is a smaller box, fewer notes of polyphony, but it's the same engine, is really great. It's just a great synth. It's used so many music productions, my goodness. But the company that made Access, they went into doing guitar amplifier support, DSP work for a company. And I don't know if they're ever coming back, which is really, really sad because they pushed, you plug in a USB cable to the Virus and you download the software for it. And just like that, you have yourself an integrated synthesizer with a plug-in interface that's got great patches. Oh, I'm in RAM. I don't have anything in the RAM banks right now. So go to ROM. Here's your oscillators where you have hypersaw. This is one of the first ones that did the whole hypersaw after the Roland JP 8000 did. The filters are great. got great effects. It's got a whole distortion in it that's just wonderful to work with. And to have the whole interface here, that means you can use hardware, but it's connected as if it was a plug-in into your computer. And I haven't really seen anybody do this level of integration between hardware and software like this. And it's something I wish more companies would do with the software that the hardware synthesizers they're bringing out. Audio is transferred into Logic as well. I don't have any audio cables connected. It's just one USB cable connected to the box. And so it's like the best copy protection because you actually have to own a virus to use it. But the sounds it can create will just shock the crap out of you. I mean, love the virus. It's one of those few synths that will be buried with me. It's really great. So those, now I think we're gonna just leave it like there for what we're doing. I'm gonna come back at the end of this live stream if there's some time, and we'll make some bonus patches using these. I'll show you some of the parameters in Unify that are very fun for modifying these patches to make. At the end of the list here, I made bonus patches. So the layout of the library is that you have pads of everything. So we go Destiny B. If you go down to the synth, you will find Destiny B synth. And it's that same bass, that same pad, but it's fast attacks. So every pad has, it's like yin yang. Everything, if you go here, Power Strings, we don't have anything yet, but if you go to like Mystery Romance, B, that's the samples. If you go to the Mystery Pad, B, Mystery Romance, B, Synth, and because Guru's sampler is so straightforward, it's bring down the release. I do a lot of stuff with the pitchy G from the LFO. You can get these snappy attack things like very few things I've played with can get that snappy. Then after that, you get to the Z bonus patches. And right now there's 20. There will be over 50 in July. I'm gonna make at least 30 more. These are patches that are using all the abilities of Unify. This is using DX and 2 samplers. That there's one of those motion things and one of the nice pads that grows in the samples. You put that with electric piano and it's just magic. That's why it's called magical growth, right? Warmth of the sunrise. Cool leads, pads, plucked. So we'll make some more of these at the end. I'm gonna take a little left turn. Let's see what's going on in the discussions. Are you guys following along and doing good? Yes, you could combine the pad samples with the same name synth samples. Yeah. Yeah, you can, it's very fun. Although you got to be careful because of flanging of samples, but there's a cool trick to that. So if you said synth troubled waters and pad troubled waters, which one did I? Troubled waters B, click. Add this to instrument 1, so it just loads the instrument 1. And then to make sure that you don't have the samples playing the same, just take the second one and randomize the sample starts. So that way, each time that the pad's playing, it's going to be just starting from the beginning. But the synth one now is just a little bit different sample starts, so you don't have phasing issues happen. You could also detune one just a little bit. If you really want to have fun, pan one left and pan one right. Then maybe go to the second one and all sorts of the possible ways of playing with these is just crazy fun. So really fun. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Thank you, Garrett. You're driving me crazy. You know, I just want to, you know, it's up to you guys if you want to buy one of these libraries, but I just have to keep pushing I'm on an adventure, and there's a mountain I'm climbing towards, and these libraries are all steps in my adventure. And I keep pushing myself to do new, different things and think different ways with each one of these I do. And so I'm glad it drives you crazy. It drives me crazy because it's in my head and I have to get it out. Yeah, Nicholas, welcome. Every Saturday I'm here. We'll do all sorts of fun stuff here. Now, one request I have for those of you that own this library and love it, like it, wish it did something different, I want to know, I would really appreciate. So first of all, this video is sponsored by my website. Let me take you to there really quick. And I'd like to ask for you to consider leaving a review. So if you come to pluginguru.com, here pads are alive. Click there to go to the MegaMagic Pads. As you can see, it's on a special price until July 1st. Again, the power strings and 30 bonus patches come after that, when it will be $49. So buy it now to get it at this special price, or wait until then if you want. It's all good to me. Now, if you own this and you log into your account, you can scroll down here to the bottom of the list, and I only have one review. I would love to have some more reviews, some more feedback from those of you that like the library. Tell people what you like about the library. If there's things you wish were more different or added or something, let me know. I'm in the middle of working on a bonus for this library, so now's the time to shoot some feedback our way. So go to the pluginguru.com website and leave a review. Reviews for anything help, but especially for in this case where I'm working on something and I want to add some, you know, what kind of things would you like in the bonus patches, you know? I wish I had some more of what, you know? Tell me, let me know what you want. That's a great way to communicate and let us know. So, isn't this fun? Crazy stuff. So, that's this library. Now, the next library to come out is a whole, it's about as, in fact, I have to have a drink of my wonderful, Melanie's daughter got me this really cool canister thing that keeps cans. This is a Pellegrino. You put it in here and it keeps it cold for much longer than otherwise. It's like it's in its own little self-cooler thing. Really cool. And I have blueberries. I love blueberries. I live on blueberries, basically. So either that or red licorice, you know? So, but I'm going to take you over to the other library that we are working on that will be coming out in July. It's called Chill Guitar Phrases. I'm spitting blueberries. Okay, so this is a really interesting library. Long story short, there's a producer in Germany that has musicians, and they've made a number of libraries for a number, actually probably at least 2 years, and sent them to me. And it's always been, well, I'm working on stuff, but I don't know yet how I can use sampled phrases, stuff like that. And so this is an attempt to use phrases, but I've done some, you know, plug-in guruizing to these to make it unique and a little different than what you've maybe come across. Some software is able to speed up and slow down internally. They have a granular playback engine to their sampler and stuff. We don't have that. So if you speed up or slow down the samples, it just raises it and lowers it in pitch, and the phrase gets played faster or slower. So what I have done that's different is there are 61 guitar phrases. Every note. They have cool production on them. They sound like they mix. They're ready to go into the mix of tracks. Like that. Isn't that cool? Now, as you can see, I use Logic, and I use Logic's timing to first sample adjust things so that it had the right feel. But you can get this phrase, this entire map has been recreated at 7 different tempos. So I could be, or I could say I'm at 75 beats per minute. And this way, I can go to Cloud City, I go to drums. Oh wait, then I have to, this is where it becomes kind of tricky. So I got to go to my sequencer, my Logic, and say to be at, what is it, 75 beats per minute. Now all these samples are at this tempo. One of these. This needs to be double time. So let's go to MIDI box and say 2 to 1. Doesn't work with swing, so let's open up this Unify up and find a groove that... Right? So they're all tempo locked. Anywhere on the keyboard, 61 keys. Cool, chill grooves. I mean, the ways to write with these, I've done some demos already. These are just like, oh my God, these are so cool. Right? Okay. A lot of you guys asked when I showed this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks, because I was just before Mexico. I need to see the chords, like what's going on chord-wise. And so this was something which bounced around in Shane's head for a while. And we have a solution, and it's really, really cool. So let me show you. 110 beats per minute. Is this it, or is it the 120? I think it's the 120. Okay, here's 120. This is still in the working stages, so it's not done yet. But see right here, where it's, normally you see the programmer's name. We've created a system where it's able to have a text file that it's looking at that tells it the names. And normally when you open up Guru Sampler, it looks like this, where you see the library, the folders that might be in the library, and then the samples in the library. When you change to one of these that has guitar phrases and you choose one of these phrase maps, I believe, yeah, it goes to this list now with a lookup table of the chords. So here I've made this text file that says what the chord progression is, right? And then we added another tool into Unify called guitar phrase. And as I spin this, look it up here. This is so freaking cool. It now will change to the sample and tell you the chord progression. So I can call this up. Let's see. Let's call this back up at 120. If I spin, I know it's G minor. If I go to another phrase, E minor to C. And then on top of this, on and off, if you remember the OMG drums we've done for Omnisphere, I have a bass, and then a keyboard or a split or pads. I'll make a whole bunch of different variations of this so I can. So any of these phrases you call up, you can immediately go, oh, G minor. Knowing what the chord progression is before you even start. You can, okay, this is F. So you get the idea. So we have this tied to the guitar phrases. So you can use these to write with and know what chord progression it's going to be for all 61 of the samples. So I can build future libraries like this using this kind of an idea. So you can see how this works. So you'll be able to call up guitar phrases. You got to make sure that your tempo of your DAW matches the tempo of this. If I had my DAW at the wrong tempo, even like 110, it's not going to work because the drums are following the clock of my sequencer, while as the audio samples are locked to the tempo that it says right here. So the key is to make sure your DAW, or if you're running in standalone, it calls up the proper tempo when you call up the patches in standalone, but the tempo has to be what this is. So if I go to 100 beats per minute, same phrases and all that kind of stuff, but I have to slow this down to 110. Oh, this is 100, so even 110 won't work, so 100. So this is kind of that Apple thing where because they have control of software and hardware, because I'm doing libraries and software, we can do things to Unify to make it work better for this type of a library than if I was trying to build this inside of some other hard software sampler or something like that. I couldn't do what we're doing. But because of the way that this works, but wouldn't that transpose the whole, let's see what you guys are talking about. Yeah, the key is that you got to remember this is back to the old school sampling. This is that guitar phrase. If I was to go over here and speed up the tempo, it's transposed it, but it sped it up. Or if I take it down, it's much slower. We don't have what Contact has where it can do the sample and you can play it across the keyboard anywhere you want and it's doing the phrasing and it stays in tempo. That's the technology that's not part of Guru Sampler. So this is, it's an attempt to do a library like this. It's maybe not ideal. I wish we had the granular engine and stuff, but we don't. So we're trying something out to see how this works using the technology we have inside of Unify. And I think it's pretty cool. No, Rex files would be, if you've ever tried to Rex a guitar phrase that's got effects on it, it's a nightmare. Drums you can get away with. It takes a lot of work still to do, especially drums that have processing. But guitar phrases, I've tried that, and it ends up sounding really, really bad. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, this is a different thing for us because I've made mainly synthesizer patches or samples, and then you play them. So this is, we have someone that's able to get us really, really cool phrases. I have other people that could play phrases. So it's an attempt to show something different. I mean, there's tons of companies that do nothing like Loopmasters that does nothing but, you know, they do drum loops and stuff, but a lot of their stuff have instrument phrases. And some of them do have Rex files, but not all of them do. And maybe between now and in July, I can play with and see if some of these can be Rexed so that we have Rex files. But at least we have a working solution to get them to work and sound really good. So we'll wait and see. It's pretty usable. I love all these different guitar phrases. And if you start listening to the radio, so many songs have a sampled phrase in them. And the phrase is there for the chorus, and then it's gone for the verses, and they just go back to playing other stuff. And then when it comes back to the verse and back to the chorus again, it's back. And there's all sorts of ways to customize this to be your own thing. Like if I'm at 100 beats per minute, you can use a pump house. Because it's guitars, they work really great with distortion. So Noise Box is great for getting all sorts of, go over here to high pass filtering. So all sorts of fun ways to play with this. We're just starting to discover and dive into what we can do. But we do have a way that works to give us so you can at least see the chords. And let's go back to 120. And sometimes it's not about originality because, good Lord, people use sampling vocal phrases all over the place all day long because they can't sing. A lot of people can't play guitar. And here's a chance to have a really cool guitar phrase. It's not for everyone, but it's worth it for enough that I'm gonna probably release it. I mean, it's just trying to do something different. So that is in the works. That's coming in July probably. And again, it's not for everybody. That's fine. But enough of them are cool enough. I want to definitely explore this and try to get into this area a little bit and provide solutions like this to people. But I do realize it takes a little bit of education and stuff like that. So, okay, so let's get back to our the pads. I want to make some bonus patches for these. I'm just trying to look here to see. Yeah, okay, so following up on this, let's look at making a couple bonus patches. We got 15 minutes in this. If you have questions, pop up into the chat any of the questions you might have about this library, any other library. I'm going to be getting back into releasing some of the other unified libraries that we've been working on, stuff like that. Let's go up to, let's start with a pad so we can really show how far we're going to take something. Let's turn this into a cool little arpeggiated part. So pretty like that, right? Now about 0.005. Now I want a little bit of an attack definition. So we're going to use a one shot. Let's go to custom and then bring up the pitch. And you change it to be just unilateral. So it's just one direction from the top down to the pitch, normal pitch. You can control the curve of it here and the speed. To get all sorts of cool. And this can go up to 4 octaves up. So let's go over here. Let's use arpeggiators, the blue arp. And let's do this. The first thing you have to do is go to key select and then just drag along here and and then I like to go to gate time. And velocity. Let's put it into a delay, and I want to make it a separate auxiliary bus. So we're going to go auxiliary effects, delay presets, and something like fuzzy and restricted. And then bring up 2. I want it to be a little bit shorter, so we go to the decay. Give it more of a plucky kind of short decay shape. And let's add something to this. Let's add maybe, let's go Rosa Crystal. And again, I'm going to just say add instrument 1, because this way it doesn't load all the other stuff of the layer. It just takes layer 1, since I know these are 1 layer patches. Sample start a little later. Now I kind of need something to trigger. Gee, what could trigger chords rhythmically really cool? Hey, how about MIDI box? Go MIDI box. And I'm going to use something that will maybe surprise a lot of you. I'm going to go, wait, actually, let's just do this. Let's say in the library we're going to choose from is the Unify Standard Library. By doing that, these MIDI files are the same in everybody's computer. I don't even have to like move this MIDI file over to this library because standard library is there for everybody. I'm going to go to the drums, believe it or not, and find something like a hi-hat that's got like maybe some cool 8th note accent. And it's not the right pitch, because it's playing a hi-hat, right? So use offset. Okay, this is where Pump House is really fun because we're going to do some rhythmic stuff with Pump House. So we go rhythmic pulses. Go to the shape. And then to mix it up a little bit, let's go to the sample start and have that randomized. And maybe I wanted to do something and then die away. So let's do this. Let's say we want to change my curves here a little bit so I get a little more. And let's go over here to the filtering. That's kind of interesting. Maybe I want one more arpeggiator part and I want it to be a different instrument. So I'm going to go to instruments and say, oh, let's just go to DX and say maybe a plucked bank. And let's go over here to arpeggiators, put blue arp on it. And just to cheat, I'm going to click right here and just go to some sort of cool arp. There we go. That's kind of cool. Put delay on it. I want a delay with a little character, so we're going to go to power curve. But it's not transposing, so let's go to blue arp and see. I don't want fixed. Detect from the chord. Oh. Let's go here to the... I want it to be major. It's off by one. Where's my transpose? It's set to fixed. Let's see here. Go to key select. I don't want it to be fixed. Let's just say key 1, 2, 3 like this. That's cool. Almost. I'll have to play with this more, but I typically just use sevenths. So when you play certain chords, you get in trouble when you're using these transpose steps. That's not quite the right sound yet, so that's better. Maybe down an octave. That's cool. Let's go save. This is going to be called now ZBPM pad. Yeah. Busybodies. Save as and save. There's a bonus patch. And then I want to go into the filter cutoff, and I would say such things as I'd say duplicate, double click, layer 2, and duplicate, double click, change it to layer 3. So I now have, oh, it won't do it to DX, doesn't have that parameter. So we can say, oh, if I wanted to do something to DX so that I could have it so that I think I need to also have it do the filter envelopes. Let's go over here and say duplicate this and make it also for filter or for layer 2. So there. Now, let's look at something we could do to DX that would be interesting. There's these different things. Right here. I think chorus or maybe volume. I also want to, when you're playing with DX, make sure you go to the parameter page. And the engine resolution, make sure you're using the modern 24-bit. You'll get a lot better sound. You'll get less clicks. It's just a better engine to work with. And let's go back to knob 1. And let's option click it to call it up. And let's go. I want to go to the DX layer. That was operator 2. Operator 2. Overall output level. It starts about here. Right? And let's also have it take up the frequency of that operator. So go DX, operator 2 frequency chorus. Hear how I can hear in real time the feedback. This is the coolest thing to me in Unify, one of them, because most things you cannot hear feedback of your modulation when you're programming stuff. I know exactly what it's gonna do because I can hear it. And I want that's 1 right there. EG rate number 2. So let's play with that. You can get into molecular levels of play. So go over here, DX, EG rate 2, right there. I can say start kind of slow, and then as this goes up, it can become just a click. And then whilst also doing this, I want it to go to that DX, and I want it to bring up auxiliary 2 delay, which it has no delay on it to start with. So as it goes up, there, now it's in the delay. Now it's not. So I had my fun time, so I can go over here and I just hit update. Boom, it's updated. Now knob 1. Maybe I want one of the pads to not get quite so dark, so I can go over here to, I can hear it. Do you get that? This is the coolest thing on the planet. because I can say, no, I want it right there. And layer 2, I want right there. You cannot do this in Omnisphere. You cannot do this in Serum. There's nowhere else that I know of where you can go to each of the modulation parameters, change the depth of it, and hear it in context. And go, I want the cutoff of this one part. It's the coolest thing on the planet because you can hear what the result will be when the knob is at that position. So now you can really control. All ready for automating and good times. So there, busybodies, okay? So oh, I lost the, come back to your YouTube feedback. Any questions? We're about to wrap up, about to do our shout outs. Anybody have questions of any type? Shoot them away. Got a good busybody thing going on. That's very nice. What is The Matrix? The Matrix is a movie with Keanu Reeves. It's one of my favorite science fiction movies ever created. The Matrix is what basically is called the modulation section of a synthesizer. Most synthesizers, if you go to something like, let's see here, Anna, is it in my list of favorites? Anna 2. This has a matrix area down here called mod. And a matrix is basically where you can set up one modulation. It's going to change one parameter and you have depth controls for it. We don't do that the same way in Unify. Instead, we have what are called targets, link parameters. So you can target what you want to change with this. Instead of it being a whole list to choose from, you just choose from whatever is loaded in Unify because it's different all the time. If I have Anna 2 in here, then that means I can go to this, and now Anna 2 becomes part of my matrix. I have all of the parameters of Anna 2 now available to me. And if I had a new layer, and I had on this layer, I had, let's say, Zebra. So let's go favorite instruments that I have, Zebra. Now, when I go to this macro for the targets, my matrix, if you'll call it that, has changed. My list of available parameters, my matrix, has changed. I now have all of Anna 2 on layer 1. On layer 2, I have everything in Zebra added to my matrix. It will blow your mind to pulp if you start thinking about the power of Unify when you're dealing with like 9 layers with 9 different synthesizers. Unify has access on these knobs to every freaking knob parameter of every one of the synths on every one of those layers. It's like you are God and you have control over all this stuff, but our matrix changes all the time because the matrix is the list of defined parameters and the list of defined targets for modulation. Ours changes all the time with every patch. So the matrix in Unify is this dynamic list, and it changes depending on what synthesizers you have loaded into it, okay? Mine is already pulp. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, you guys that come along and stay every week and stuff, it gets very, very deep. But it's super, super easy because when you go to this page, it's not like all you have to do is point at that layer and it will tell you what's there to play with. And then you just have to sit there and look through the list to find the parameter that you want, which can be a little daunting sometimes, depending on some of these synths that get really deep. But that's why I'm going to start a series of lessons on OBXD, because it is a wonderful synthesizer, can do really cool. The resonance is great. And when you go to the link parameters list, the matrix for OBXD is fairly small compared to Zebra. And it's not like 8 different possible places to look for filter cutoff. It's filter cutoff, cutoff, boom. Now my knob, if I was to open up OBXD, watch where it says cutoff as I move my mod wheel, see how it's changing? That's all it is. It's super basic kids school stuff what we're doing. It's just once you realize what it can do to everything, that it gets to be like, oh, well, that's a lot, you know? But I could say also, I could go OBXD attack. And now as I go up, let's slow down the attack. And you hear it change. So now I'm going from a darker sound to a bright sound and slow attack. Just with 2 parameters. Okay, so what you can do, I mean, there's so many places to go. You hear all these really cool breakdown things people do before their drops, where they have all sorts of things changing and the synth sound gets really weird. I'm going to do a video showing how to do that with one knob in Unify, because you could literally take 2 vitals and have them doing synth sounds and move the knob and have it change certain parameters inside a vital, and you would have like the most weird, crazy building stuff before a drop if you want to do that stuff. So any other questions? I think we're going to stop there since we're a little bit over. Experimenting is the way to learn. Yes, absolutely. All you have to do for that is just open up the target parameter and say, what happens if I, it's that simple. Auxiliary buses are really fun to add. Go to the ones from Patches, because these will do like dreamy, guitar-y, verby, right? See how it's at 0? So let's go over here to knob 2, go to the linked parameters, hit the little plus, because you want to add one. Go to this layer and go to the auxiliary send for number 1. And I've now added modulation that I can just turn this knob up and then bring down. You hear all these reggae songs and pop songs where that's good. Right? So there you go. I'm going to do another series of videos as well on, again, starting with the basics, because I was in Mexico working with a friend of mine, and there were certain steps that are simple to me because I have just lived in this plugin for a very, very long time, that it's really easy to kind of like forget about. So I want to try to do some really basic ones to get you going and stuff. Yes, and also, just so we're clear, bless you, Takeda, there's a whole bunch of videos at my Plugin Guru channel on Unify and other synthesizers going back to 2009. There's like 300 plus videos. If no time, I ask next week. John, can you show my request from this week? Total. What do you mean by total separation? Oh, Fernando, that's a good idea. Yeah, there's this new cinematic pads from Spitfire Audio. We might look at, I haven't even bought that library yet. I don't understand what you're talking about, Winifred. there's no time today, but when you say total separation, are you talking about where we were talking about multiple parts to output? Like you have something and you want it to be on different outputs? That's a bit of time to explain how to do that. So I don't think we're going to do that today. If you could, I mean, knob 1 is not allowed to be, oh, well, if you don't want it to do CC1, just write and say unassign. And now it doesn't listen to MIDI CC1. That's how you can separate the knobs. We set up these to be listening to CCs. You can change them to any CC of your hardware you want, and you could say unassign, and now they're dead. It's now only automation in your sequencer, no time. All right, let's do our shout outs from wherever we are. I'm in Portland, Oregon, so shout out from Portland, Oregon. If I can spell. I just showed you, you can turn off modulation here. If you're talking about inside of Plasmonic, then you have to go into Plasmonic and turn it off. That's not my responsibility. Email Brian Clevenger if you need help with that. I'm not here to teach you how to program Plasmonic. Shout outs from Oregon, New Jersey, Santa Cruz says, what's up? Right on, what's up? Good to see you, Frank, in Germany. Shout out from Wales. Hi, Tim. Good to see you all. Hope this was helpful, inspiring. Bernie, so good to see you, my friend. We must talk this week about all the good things we got working on for future Plugin Guru libraries. Yeah. Will up in Denmark, good to see you. Eric in Sweden. Good to see you guys. Thank you for hanging out. It's so fun to do this and have you to hang out with. So I appreciate it. Yeah, that's true. Sunday Woodcarver is pointing out 9-volt audio did do a whole bunch of instrument phrases. I won't tell you how long it took for them to do that and how much work it was, but it is possible to do, but it's a huge amount of work. Tom, good to see you. And again, the problem with recycling and rexing things for that is that you end up with acoustic glitches and stuff that are really, really hard to clean up. So I'm not really wanting to do that. Good to see you all. Good. My gosh, you guys are awesome. So thank you. Be well. Again, if you have time to leave a little review for MegaMagic Pads 2, or any of our libraries, it is greatly appreciated. You have to own the library before the website will let you leave a review for it. So you can't do that for things that you don't already own. Mark, good to see you. Winfred, it's a Unify problem of the automation script. Well, you'll need to email Unify support@pluginguru.com and we can talk about it there or talk on the forums. I should point out, for those of you that ever have questions in the week, you can go to forums.pluginguru.com. And we have, let's see, I need to log out so that it's just the basic. Here. So forums.pluginguru.com is where discussions of all the things like when Fred is asking and trying to get me to do in a live stream, which it's better to handle here in our forums, are here. So you can ask questions, feature requests, all that kind of stuff. Anything you have that you get stuck on, there might be an answer already there for you, or we will help you out with whatever we can help with, okay? Oh, good. Thank you, Haj. I appreciate that. Yes. Yeah. The problem, Winifred, is you're asking for something very complicated without me knowing all the details of what you're even talking about. And there's no way for me to do a live demonstration with the small information I have from you. So the forums where you can give more details about what is wrong, then we can answer the question properly. There's no way for me to properly answer with what I know with your problem. I don't know what your problem is. So we need more information, and then we can go from there. Had more sparkle choices. Okay, yes, good point. We'll do some more motions. There's all sorts of sounds in there for sparkle, so we will add sparkle, okay? Cool. Well, be well, everybody. Be creative. Thank you for your support. See you soon. All right.